Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another special edition of the Reynolds Report. There's just something that I wanted to address, and it had to do with Nikki Haley. So, Nikki Haley sucks. Most of her votes come from Democrats or liberals. And why am I confident saying that when we've had 5 Republican primaries already or caucuses? Well, because some of those primaries and caucuses allow for Democrats, independents, or unaffiliateds to vote. And one thing that I wanted everyone to keep in mind is South Carolina's rules. All right. So let's take a look at the internets where before we do a little bigger deep dive into the South Carolina primaries. Let's just take a look at the big picture so far. So far, Trump is very clearly the front runner with 170 delegates. Nikki Haley has 17. So not looking great for her. He's won 5 contests. She's won 0. And South Carolina is particularly noteworthy because it was Nikki Haley's home state where she was elected South Carolina state representative. She was elected governor twice. And she lost. So that really should be the end of it. That's usually a political death blow for most candidates when they lose their home state like that. But she's going to keep going on, and that's what she said. And if you read between the lines, she's going to keep going on until at least Super Tuesday. So the delegate math really isn't there for her already, but we keep hearing this argument from Haley shills. So I'm going to bring one of them up right now on the Twitters. So this guy right here, Kyle Sweetser, I don't know if you could see this with the way StreamYard shares the screen, but I'm going to read it for you. So it says, Trump barely has half the vote. Very poor showing for Trump with all his endorsements. If these numbers hold, they were, and that's very important for him to say, if these numbers hold. He posted that at 7:57 p.m. right after they were called. So he was trying to say, oh, she got nearly half the vote. That means she's not going to be able to beat Biden. Well, that was before a lot of them were counted. So hours later, Donald Trump had about 60%. Nikki Haley had 40%. So then it was about a 20-point difference or so. So that's a landslide. Trump destroyed her. He gets all the delegates. She doesn't get any. Very humiliating for her. But one thing a lot of people have to keep in mind is South Carolina. It's pretty much an open primary. Anyone can vote in there. So if you look at South Carolina, It's open partisan. See? We got this right here. This is from openprimaries.org. Congressional and state primaries are open with nonpartisan registration. They're open. The one big thing is they don't have to declare affiliation with a party in order to vote, but they must choose one party's ballot. So think about how the race is right now. So they can vote in a primary, any primary they want, but they have to choose one. So the Democrats already had theirs. And honestly, it was very clearly that Joe Biden was going to win. I forget who else was on the ticket over there in South Carolina. So a lot of people just didn't show up. But a lot of people have more passion for hating Trump. So they're going to show up at this and they're going to vote for Nikki Haley in spite of Trump or try to hurt Trump. But overall, within the Republican Party, people do not like Nikki Haley, and this is just incredibly obvious. She's gonna have to give it up very, very shortly. There's no way she's winning, and there's a lot of winner take all states coming up, especially with Super Tuesday. So let's take a look at the ones coming up. I believe we got the schedule. Is this the schedule? No. Okay. All right. So, February 24th, Trump won the 2024 South Carolina Republican presidential primary. The next one is Michigan. So she's already got her Michigan people over there spending the money, throwing the money away. They're pretty much burning that money over there in Michigan. And after that, the DC primary will take place. Idaho, Michigan, Missouri. So, and then Super Tuesday is March 5th. So after Super Tuesday, the delegates are really, really going to start adding up, and it's going to become even more apparent that Nikki Haley does not have a shot. So I don't know what she's trying to prove at this point. She would have came out looking a lot better if she had stepped down the same way DeSantis did and Vivek. But she's just going to keep embarrassing herself. And she's got these shills who, again, I remind you, are Democrats and liberals for the most part. So I don't know any, and I live in a blue state, but I don't know any Nikki Haley supporters here. I know there aren't many Republicans here, but I don't know where these people are coming from, but I'm pretty confident that most of them are not Republican or very conservative minded folks. So that's just what I wanted to show all of you. And then there was the Iowa. So that's where she got 8 of her delegates. That's where she got a majority of those delegates was Iowa. And then Nevada, how embarrassing for Haley. She lost to none of these candidates. So the weird thing about Nevada was they had a primary and they had a caucus. So the primary was organized by basically the Democrats put that rule into place. But the people who have the power to distribute the delegates are the Republican Party. So the Republican Party was like, screw you, it's the caucuses, and they only, again, the candidates only can pick one. And for whatever reason, Nikki Haley picked the one that doesn't count, that doesn't net you any delegates. I really don't get why she did that. And then New Hampshire, again, she was freaking, she thought that she was going to win there because she had Sununu's endorsement. What a weirdo. The Virgin Islands, not a whole lot of people voted in that. 180 to 52. All right. In the Virgin Islands, they don't participate in the election because they're a territory. They do participate in the primary, the caucus. So, yeah, that's That's how we go have it going. So this is USA.gov. It just explains the presidential primaries and caucuses. I know a lot of people forget how these rules work because they only occur every couple of years. One thing I want to remind people is when the Democrats really have actual competitive primaries again, which will probably be in the next presidential election, everyone's going to get pissed about the super delegate rule again. Everybody forgets about the freaking super delegates. It's how Hillary Clinton had the complete total advantage and how Bernie Sanders wasn't going to never ever stood a chance. Those super delegates really can overpower the people's voice. So they got screwy rules over there at the Democratic Party. But I think some of these Republicans should close up their primaries because this is ridiculous. You should not allow people who are not part of the Republican Party to have a say in who the official party choice is. I think you gotta be part of that party, or sorry, you can't vote in it. I think that's totally fair, and then everybody can vote in the upcoming elections. So yeah, that's just how I think it should be run. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. So yeah, and here's another list. So state primary types. This is on ncsl.org, which stands for National Conference of State Legislatures. It's all these state primary types. So right here, I'll say open, open unaffiliated, top 4, top 2, open unaffiliated, partially closed. I'm from Connecticut. I like that. Closed, 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 partially closed, partially closed. Open, unaffiliated, open, open, open. Wait, what's Michigan? Michigan is open. So that's why they're spending so many resources down there. Again, it's because these are open primaries. A lot of her supporters are coming from Democrats or liberals or people who are just unaffiliated. Um, yeah, or at the very least are more on the lefty liberal side, and they hate Trump, and that's why she's got those votes. But again, it's not enough votes to overcome the majority. So, and they're using that to argue that Trump can't beat Biden. But Nikki Haley's a weak candidate. She can't beat Biden either. But yeah, well, that's all I have to say. I hope you all have a lovely Sunday. I got some plans later. I'm going down to Danbury. Everybody, have a great rest of your day.